So when you hear the elder advisor's mantra, don't go broke in a nursing home, what does that involve? Quite a bit. With me now is the president, CEO, and founder, Larry Weiss, his senior VP, Lindsay Fleming, and of course, I know there's so many titles to give this man. Steve Langdon is like headliner,
That's
keynote speaker.
You said too much.
He didn't. Keep going. Keep going. I like all that.
He's extraordinary.
He's the keynote speaker. I know that.
That's right.
And
Elder law superstar attorney, Steve Langdon.
There we go.
You know, you just took my thunder out. I'm going home. I'm going home. It's been like this since November.
Lindsay and I are close. That's just all there is to it.
It is multi-layered, and folks, I will tell you this. I'm going to go ahead and let the cat out of the bag. The information is so desired and needed that we're having 3 workshops this month, and everyone is happy when they come out of there because it takes a lot of stress off. Okay. I mentioned a lot of layers.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of people think, okay, obviously there's a legal component here because Mr. Langdon is here, and they think, okay, I'm sure you're going to help me out a little bit financially with some advice there.
Right.
But there's more than that, isn't there, Larry? Talk about what you do.
There is, and I'm having the time of my life. I'm truly blessed, John. Hello, Kentuckiana. Hello, hello. And I love what I do. I'm blessed. I've been doing this about 26 years. I've got 6 great people that work with me every day. That does include the erstwhile Senior Vice President, Lindsay Fleming, who has a delicious husband, AJ. Hi, AJ. How you doing? Okay, and there is the elder law superstar component, Steve Langdon, because in almost every case, we need a legal component. Because I tell families at the workshops, which we're doing 3 this month. We're doing Louisville, Clarksville, and Meade County. Come across the river to Corydon and Harrison County. Wednesday the 3rd, we're doing Corydon.
My old stomping grounds.
Well, yeah, I didn't want to say too much, a little kiss and tell, but yes, it is the hometown pride of John Ramsey, Harrison County, Corydon.
You know, this was an idea that was mine. I'll take full credit for it. And we have just served so many clients recently that seem to be coming from Crawford County area, Harrison County, Brandenburg, Eckerty. So it just seemed like we wanted to meet our friends out there, and so I think for folks that Clarksville may be a little bit far, come see us in Corydon. We're coming to you, friends. We're coming to you.
We're in the newspaper today. The Corydon Democrat, and then there's the other sister publication.
The other paper that's not the Corydon Democrat.
Yeah, right. But we're in your half-page ads. But, you know, don't go broke in a nursing home because you don't have to. The biggest problem we have when we meet with families is they have the preconceived notions of the barbershop law that's telling them, well, we can't do it. It's been more than 5 years. And, you know, I gently and try to very politely say, please don't tell the doctor how to operate. I know what I'm doing. For husband and wife, we can keep everything. You're staying married. You know, it's just amazing that there's families out there that have been told by attorneys, right, Steve?
Yep.
That families have to get divorced to protect assets. That's just so asinine. You don't have to do that. There's people that may want to get divorced, but you certainly don't have to if you're wanting to protect assets.
My wife's looking for any excuse. Any excuse.
Johnny, when that happens, there's big open arms right here for you, baby. Right here.
Stay married, John.
Appreciate that.
Now AJ's jealous. This is
Medicaid planning.
Yeah, Medicaid planning. So you just don't have to do that. There's so many bad things out there people are being told. And the problem is, you know, people are being told this stuff at church, at the barbershop law, at the beauty shop law, and it's almost like the people that are relaying this barbershop are almost happy to tell the bad news. So they kind of see grandma wince or dead. Well, you know, there's nothing you can do. And then they're just crestfallen. And these are people that need to come to the workshop because it is good news. As Steve says, it is good news because so much can be done. For husband and wife, they can keep all the assets. For a single person, we can keep about half of the assets. And half of something is better than all of nothing. But you need to keep an open mind and come out to the workshops.
And really, you know, when you think about literally going through 10,000, 12,000 a month, this is information that you need. Don't procrastinate. Lindsay, talk a little bit about, and you mentioned this before, the stress that goes off of people's shoulders after they get the message and they understand that, hey, this is something that doesn't have to be as brutal as you thought. We can help you keep money in your pocket.
I think a lot of times we're sitting across from clients and they don't believe it. They don't get it. They don't get it at first. And I'm like, no, but really we can. And, you know, for a married couple, if you're listening and you have a spouse that's in a nursing facility and you're paying privately, we can protect all your assets. You need to be at the workshop. And for a single person, half. And I think people don't think it's real, and it is real, and it is. And so the greatest joy is kind of when we get families across the finish line with the help of CLLB law, and they're settled. They have their footing about them now, and they can really kind of just focus on providing care for mom and dad. And that's such a blessing that we're able to provide.
It is a blessing. Thank you, Lindsay. But you coined the phrase, You know, you said, hey, the news, it's good news. And I think, and folks, don't go to the workshops yet. Don't put them on the screen yet because they're just too much handsome to my left.
That is so
Both of
Oh
these
my
guys.
gosh, are you okay?
No, not you,
Are you
Larry.
okay?
Not
These
you.
guys. Both of these
He's
guys.
talking about
It's me.
Steve.
No, he is.
Get a close up of Steve Langdon. Look at that. I mean,
Oh, yay.
Oh, hell.
he's like a.
Oh, yay.
He's like this Ken doll. He's like
Yeah.
it was too handsome. You know, it's all too perfect.
You know, the truth hurts, doesn't it, Larry?
I'm devastated emotionally and physically right now. I'm ill.
Yeah.
There is a legal side, Steve, and you can help with that. And again, the news is good if you know how to play the rules and you know them.
Yeah, I do know the rules, and it's very, very important that you're going to pick an attorney who does this and only does this kind of work, right? You got to know what the rules are to protect assets. The other thing too is, in fact, CLLB Law has opened an office in Corden because there's so many people out in that direction that need help. Whether you're Brandenburg, Corden area, or out in English or Ramsey, a lot of farms out there. A lot of folks that need to do some proactive planning, whether it's a crisis now or you need to get proactively involved so that you can protect that farm because you want to hand it off to your kids. You really need to come out. Come out August 3rd and visit with us because there's a lot we can do to allay your fears.
Well, let's put up the workshops because this is such good information. They keep expanding. There's a reason. It is good news. And Larry, invite them. And I can see you in Corden, Indiana, now working the farm. I can see you getting into tobacco and milking cows.
Yes.
That is so Larry Weiss.
Yes.
I would.
Baling hay.
You know what? I'll have Elijah, my IT and logistics property manager, do that. I'll write the check for it. But I ain't hurting these beautiful hands. I'm a hand model, John. I can't do that. So yeah, Monday night Kentucky, Tuesday Clarksville at 10 a.m. And of course, for those people, Autumn Schneider, our placement angel, director of client services. Shout out to Meade County. Come across the river because we're going to be there Wednesday, August 3rd at the Hampton Inn, right off the exit in Corden. Freeworkshop.com, 855-LARRY55.
And that's another layer that you talked about of a placement because it's still
Very hard.
Lindsay, you can speak to this. It's still tough right now.
Very
I
hard.
don't know if it's after effects of COVID or is that just the way it's going to be from this point forward?
I think there's more folks. We've got about 10,000 people a day in this country turning 65. So that is the baby boom, and it is here. And I think that there's just not enough beds. And so you've got to know where to go. You got to know who to call. And Google doesn't always get you there. Autumn has done a phenomenal job of building relationships. She knows how to assess and kind of say, hey, this might be a good fit or this might be a good fit, and really empowering the families to decide and in a direction because it's just overwhelming. It's just overwhelming.
As we look at the workshops again, Larry, if you would,
Yep.
tell them, you guys keep it entertaining. This to you. Don't get me wrong. You said you're having the time of your life.
I am. I'm
It shows,
blessed.
but it's still good information.
It is good information, and we definitely get into the details, but it is tough stuff. We have a little fun. Monday night, August 1st, 6 o'clock at the Hilton Garden Inn on Crittenden Drive, right off I-65. I think it's exit number 132. And, of course, Tuesday morning, the 2nd at 10 a.m., Clarksville, on the Indiana side of the river at 10 a.m. on Broadway, right off Veterans Parkway. And, of course, Meade County, come across the river, Harrison County, and all the environs
Crawford
around there.
County.
Crawford County, Wednesday, August 3rd, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn at Corden, right off the exit.
We've had some folks from Jasper. We've had some folks as far as Jasper
And Eckerty.
that we've been.
You're going to continue to expand. Now,
in
obviously, I
Tazewell.
want to make it clear that if you live here in Wave Country in the Louisville area, they got you covered.
That's right.
And Steve, you can do Kentucky law as well as
Right,
Indiana law. I
right,
just want to
right.
make that clear. So that's important. But you guys, Larry, is the game plan?
Yep.
Is Lindsay? Is it? keep expanding?
Here's the thing. So many people need our help. And I want elder advisors to be positioned to help as absolutely many people as need our help. And as I said, 10,000 people a day are turning 65. A plethora of people are going to need our services, and we want to be there to support them. We want to be able to serve them.
Larry, plethora means a lot.
A lot?
Yeah.
Thank you. Well, Steve and I are on talking terms because once again, John, this isn't live television. I'll tell you, he left his car keys on my nightstand again this morning.
Oh my God.
And it was we kind of got into a little bit of a
Okay.
tiff.
Okay.
But after we
August
got
3rd is my
past
anniversary,
that,
folks.
Steve was
August
relaying
3rd, early is
in
my
the
anniversary.
green room
Happy anniversary.
how he had talked to another attorney here locally.
I see him turning red over
And
there.
they were suggesting that the clients, a husband and wife, get divorced to protect the assets. Is that what we discussed?
Yes, yeah. I quit actually listening midway through what you just said, but
But I brought it back.
Well, I
Yeah.
want to make a point about the legal component and what Steve brings to the table is we were just talking out there and he said, this person needs help with placement. And I said, okay, so is he attorney? And Steve's like, yeah. So Steve's actually serving another attorney
Good point.
walking through this process because it's it's detailed. It's a lot, and kind of know one thing and do it well, and that's what Steve brings to the table. So we have a client that is an attorney because that's a different type of law. So it's making sure that you're talking to the right people, and the right people are going to be in the room at the workshops.
And I'm going to go out on a limb here that there's people watching right now, because why else would anybody not be watching Midday Wade Through Listens Live with John Ramsey?
I'm watching it.
Right?
It's the best
Right?
place to
But
be.
there's people watching the show right now that are thinking, well, I already have an attorney, and he took care of things and stuff. And Mr. Attorney Steve Langdon, how would you address that?
Look, if you're going to have heart surgery done, you go to a heart surgeon.
Thank you.
Right? If you're going to get your engine fixed, you go to your mechanic.
Right.
If you're going to do Medicaid or proactive pre-planning, protect the farm, you need to go to an attorney who just does this work.
Yeah.
You can't go to somebody who does everything.
To your
You really
point.
do have to, to some extent, focus and specialize on one focus on the law.
Well, you had a conversation with an attorney a couple of weeks ago where he said he did Medicaid or was familiar, and that conversation went where?
It was completely sideways. He had no idea what
He said he knew all about it, but then you asked him.
And that's right. I asked him some questions. He didn't know anything about it, and that's fine. But you got to step up. If somebody asked me to do a divorce or an adoption form, I don't know how to do that.
I like your comparison there, heart surgeon analogy. And same thing if you need to find your car keys, don't leave them on a hotel room. Count
right.
Right.
Thank you, John.
Why are we
Really?
why are
Thank
we
you.
banning this
Just
plan
having
right
fun.
now?
It's
Why
about
are we
improving
doing
yourself,
this?
Stephen.
Just having fun.
We're registered at Dillard's.
Okay.
I'm very excited. Registered at Dillard's.
It's okay. It's okay.
Here's a
We
scenario.
just got back from Key West.
Barbershop law. I have to ask you, because I hear this a lot too. Well, Mom and Dad, but we're okay. We'll have to sell the home, but we're going to be okay. They are always thinking, if we sell the home, we got it covered. They don't have to do that.
No, exactly. They don't have to do that. And the problem is people are in denial, because the reality is so many people make healthcare decisions off of the checkbook balance. And that's so unfortunate for obvious reasons, and then they don't have to do that, which is what you were alluding to. That's why you're TV's most insightful host, is there's all kinds of options out there if they simply ask the right people. And I would suggest that Elder Advisors and Steve Langdon, our elder law superstar attorney at CWLB, is the right attorney to ask these questions, because he does this every day. And the question I was referring to when Steve was on the phone with another attorney was, as Steve relayed it to me, was I think that the big question was, you asked the attorney, have you actually filed Medicaid? And then what you told me?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because he was saying, I know all about Medicaid, and then you ask him.
Yeah, how often do you file for Medicaid? Well, we don't.
Ding, ding,
Well,
ding.
you really don't know Medicaid,
Right.
and that's fine, because
Right.
I don't know how he does his thing. I don't know how to do that, but you got to focus on a legal representative who just does this work.
That's why you really do. You hire the best, because you want to cover every phase and make sure that you don't go broke in a nursing home. Okay, Lindsay, I'm going to get with you here. Tell me about how these workshops, and we'll take a look at them again, how they run. How long should people commit to it? Should they make reservations? Give us the details.
Oh, yeah. Register if you can. Freeworkshop.com, 855-LARRY55. Of course, we accept walk-ins, but pre-registration just kind of helps the process flow. What do you think, like an hour, 15, hour, half?
Usually about an hour and a half when people start
Yeah.
asking questions. Steve, being an attorney, gets a little long-winded. But, you pick your battles,
But you do have a Q&A.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and it's good. It's great. It's great information.
It is.
Great information, and you'll leave feeling a little bit better than what you probably did coming in, and that's really what our objectives
And it's
is.
fun.
So
We
it
have
is
fun, and it
It's
doesn't
not-
cost them anything.
Oh my gosh, you're not going to fall asleep.
I won't allow it.
You're not going to fall asleep.
You can literally save thousands
It's
of dollars.
It's fast paced and it's fun. As like I said, this is tough stuff, but as fun as it can be. Obviously, these clowns are there, and it's.
You're talking about John.
It's fun. It is fun. So.
I got to share a quick story. A couple days ago, a client was coming in with a bunch of laundry, had coats and hangers. I thought he was coming in for dry cleaning, and yet it was who we call Dr. Phil. That's not the real television gentleman, but we refer to this gentleman as Dr. Phil. And you were doing what for him?
A strategy I use for my clients, but I get very nice printed off text labels with their name in it. If you have a loved one in a nursing home, clothes have gone missing before. Here's the thing, clothes don't go missing in a nursing facility. They just end up in somebody else's drawer. So it's harder for that to happen if they've got a very nice name label, ironed on. So
I thought it was
it's
so
just
cool.
a service that I provide for my
went
clients.
above and beyond.
I work for families with facilities so that they have the best possible outcomes. And you know, laundry service is a challenge for a lot of facilities, and that's fine. I know that. I worked in it for 15 years. But this is just a strategy that I found helps with that. So I just give that to my clients.
I was close to blown away when I saw that, because, you know, Kentucky, and I'm not an attorney. I'm not giving legal advice. I'm a financial advisor giving financial advice. And you know, we certainly need the elder law superstar attorney and legal component, but this is another part of not being an attorney, because attorneys certainly don't do this of what Lindsay was alluding to, because they don't do that. They do the legal stuff. But this kind of kitchen table to a whole other level that Lindsay does for families, I was blown away. I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. Well, that's pretty cool.
Compassion is a shared attribute among the entire
really
team. I do think all of you all very compassionate. That's real. And Larry, I have to ask you this, because I have a lot of financial advisors who come on here because of what we're going through right now. Now more than ever, you need to watch the dollar. So these workshops that you have coming up, maybe not more than ever, you should really pay attention, because it's going to happen to all of us.
It is. And, you know, there's 3 levels of estate planning: the crisis planning, they're in care, or in rehab. In Kentucky, and please don't be dismissive and think, well, they're in rehab, they're getting 100 days. It's like Lindsay calls it, it's a unicorn, you may not get it. Usually you don't. You need to come in now, because that rehab can stop at any moment, and then it's a crisis because you got to bill for $12,000. So we can help on the crisis planning. We can help on pre-crisis planning when mom's at home getting some rehab. We're kind of spending the nights there because we're afraid she may go outside and whatever. We can still help with some pre-crisis planning, and we're certainly doing the legal component there. But we can also do pre-planning and simply avoid these problems from happening. And all 3 of these variables, we need the elder law superstar attorney, Steve Langdon from CLLB, because if you're going to be successful with the whole package, you need legal certainly, and dare I say financial as well. We might even have to put iron-on labels on some of the clothes, but we'll get it done.
We had a client from Corden, by the way, from Corden. They came in, and I think they were there for mom, was in crisis, had been in a facility for a long time. And so we're talking, kind of got that, you know, a strategy.
Well, just for us, not for mom.
A game plan. Oh, okay. So they were there for them. They were going to do some pre-planning. And it's like, oh, wait, but mom's in a nursing facility. And it's like, hey, we can help with that. Like, we can do that. So we were able to do kind of both. And I think pre-planning is so important, and you'll get a little bit of that at the workshops too. So if nursing home's not on your radar, come out to the workshop.
You got to be proactive. If you're going to save your money, you got to be proactive.
And this is the way to do it. 3 workshops this month. Here they are up on the screen. Larry, invite folks.
Monday night, August 1st, 6 o'clock at the Hilton Garden Inn on Crenton Drive, right next to Cracker Barrel 565. Tuesday morning, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn in Clarksville, right off Veterans Parkway on Broadway Street. And, of course, come across the river, Meade County, Harrison County, Corydon, 10 a.m. at the Hampton Inn right off the exit. We'll see you then. Don't go broke in a nursing home. You don't have to. Freeworkshop.com.
All right. Thank you very much, Larry, Lindsay, Steve. Thank you.
Thank you.
AJ Fleming.
All right. We'll take a little break, and then, you know, we do this often on the show. We're going to talk about medical breakthrough.